all across the globe. My name is Kinshuk Sunil. I am the co-founder and CEO of Second Quest.
And I'm Nisha Gupta Khan, the better half at Second Quest, the COO, and we're super excited to have you all with us here today.
Yes, thanks for tuning in. Last July, we started on an ambitious journey to build a great simulation games company from India. And for the last 5 months, we have now been actively working on our debut game.
And today's event is all about that game.
Yeah. When Shagufta and I started this journey almost a year ago, we started with looking at how small studios from all across the globe are able to come together and build outstanding simulation games.
And this was around the time when we were wrapping up our previous startup journey together. And
Our first quest together.
yes, our first quest together, and where we were making the bet on building creator ecosystem around the sports that we play in, day out.
Yeah. Like a social media platform for the sports that all of us play, and enabling each one of us to create meaningful content with powerful creator tools and a great consumption experience.
Yeah, and as we were wrapping up that journey, we very firmly believed that the obvious domain for betting on the creator ecosystem is interactive media.
Interactive media, as in video games. And in gaming, the most vibrant space has been that of simulation games, where we can empower our players to own their content and experiences.
Right. The simulation games, are a fantastic thing, and we derived a lot of confidence from the journey of those games, and they foster creativity in their players. They're super engaging. They create a sense of pride in their players when everybody's creating their own cities, factories, villages, industries, and so on.
Yeah, just 1 second. I think there's a technical challenge with the live show. I'm just checking that.
Okay.
Somehow the video on YouTube is saying it's private.
Just give us 1 second, everyone.
Yeah, just 1 second. Why is it saying private? Indie game dev journey, guys. We have to check and fix this right now. We have a lot of people waiting on YouTube and they're not able to see the stream. Okay, I think if people reload it now, it should work. We'll just check. Guys, just reload on YouTube and it should work. Yeah. Okay.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah. I think LinkedIn is working
Yes.
fantastic. Yes,
So
sorry guys, sorry for the small interruption. We were facing some trouble with YouTube, so we just got that sorted out. The stream is live both on LinkedIn and YouTube right now. Um, yes, Shagufta, let's get back to what we were talking about.
yeah, we
Uh,
were talking about, simulation games and why we think those are fantastic things, and how we, have been looking at, what's been happening at the simulation scene.
Yeah, so they just unleash the player's creativity. They're something that the player can own and relate to. And the good thing about simulation games is that it plays out as a set of interdependent systems, and they're constantly interacting with each other, creating unique uh, situations in the game, which makes it very highly replayable. And players can easily spend hours and hours of time playing those games. Right? This is what we call endless gameplay at Second Quest. And when we multiply that with the creator ecosystem that enables players to completely control and own their experiences, whether it is UGC, whether it is content creators, whether it is mods, in every possible way, when we empower our players, we get a very highly engaged, empowered community of players. And the outcome of this is something that the player would proudly want to showcase. And these are some of the core sentiments and values that you're targeting at Second Quest.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Kinjik said is the core recipe at Second Quest, which is to build global scale content platforms where endless gameplay meets empowered communities. And a very critical part of building such scalable experiences is to start building it with player community.
Yeah. And today's event is all about kickstarting that player community.
Yes, and as we progressed on this journey of building scalable UGC platforms at Second Quest, we were able to convince some of our closest friends and very experienced folks from the industry to take a leap of faith and join us. It is a little bit scary to start and join a startup. And since October last year, we started working on the foundations of our debut game and started working on a prototype that we can start demonstrating.
Yes, and you will get to see that prototype today. But please remember, it's at a very early stage. So please be kind and support us and encourage us.
Yes, please be kind. Pretty please. We'll definitely show you the prototype, but more importantly, we want to talk about what our vision for the game is, how we are approaching it in a community-driven model, and what our roadmap going forward looks like.
Yes. And we also want you to meet the entire team at Second Quest.
Yes, please. Let's have Yadu Rajiv, Shubhank Maurya, and Vivek Jha on the stream. Hi, guys.
Hey.
Hello. Hey,
Gentlemen,
folks.
please quickly introduce yourselves. Yadu, do you want to start?
Yeah, I'll jump in first. Hey, folks. Hey, everyone. I'm Yadu. I'm the chief creative here at Second Quest. I've been working in games, education, UX, and design for close to like 20 years now. Kinshuk and I go way back. We've been collaborating and trying to collaborate on games and projects for almost 20 years. We built Game Dev India together and later started Hashtash. After Hashtash, I sort of pivoted towards teaching game design at Srishti, where I ran a lot of workshops, hosted game jams, made interactive art installations, organized an indie games festival called the Indie Game Shindig, and also set up their undergrad and postgraduate game design curricula as well. So, interestingly enough, teaching did give me an opportunity to be like a lot more involved in a lot of the local community work, setting up the IGDA Bangalore chapter, organizing game jams for the Global Game Jam, and working on initiatives like Game Dev India's BYOG and a lot more. Aside from that, I also am part of the Global Game Jam's executive committee, where I've been helping run the GGJ since 2021. And also, I did get some time to write a book as well in there somewhere, sometime in between. So after teaching for a large chunk of time, I really wanted to get back into games. And it was like a huge transition from kind of going back from games to teaching to then back to games again. And I really wanted to get back into games, and my journey sort of took me to an education adjacent space, which is again building digital games, which are like partly physical and partly digital for tangible play at Byju's as a lead game designer there for the Osmo platform. So my work there focused on combining learning and games in the best ways possible. And it was like super heavily Playtest driven. So after doing education and doing edtech, I sort of jumped headfirst into making free-to-play games at Play Simple as a lead game designer there, designing original IPs in the free-to-play space. And my focus was mostly doing a lot of data-driven design, leading some of the teams there, as well as getting games to scale. So yeah, so interestingly enough, sometime around last year, I started to feel this itch to kind of do something new, and sort of around the same time is when sort of Kinshuk just pinged me. I mean, we've always had these ideas going back and forth through the years, and I think trains were something that we both resonated with. We used so I think during the lockdowns, I suppose we used to share videos, a lot of Lego train set videos, and a bunch of these things. And so we had things in our heads slowly percolating and bubbling up to the top. And I think um, so like it's we've always had this great rapport and like a strong history of like bouncing a lot of ideas off of each other and building cool stuff and wanting to build cool stuff. And sort of like the early conversation about this game, this platform, and the products that we want to build together, it sort of really resonated with me. And also having built a company together when we were like young and naive, and then having spent like 10 years, a decade, just doing work and gaining a lot of experience, it kind of gave us and gives you like a fresh perspective and a lot of clarity as to like how you approach these challenges again. So yeah, so like I think this is a theme that you will see that it is our second quest as well. So yeah, over to you, Shubham.
Yeah, hopefully we'll make less mistakes
Guys,
this time, Yadu.
hey guys, Shubhang here. I'm leading the product in Second Quest. I've been working as a product manager for more than a decade now. I spent a great amount of time in the Indian gaming industry since it was in the early nascent stage. I think few of you already know about my exploits back in the day. For those who don't, I kicked off my gaming career back in 2006 as a designer for a little known indie studio called Tiger Tail Studios. This was, I think, when Flash games were really hot, and we made like a lot of games for Macromedia Flash and the not so smartphones, the Java based stuff, which is, yeah, I mean, it still gives me PTSD. But I mean, I spent like a good 4.5 years there, learned a great deal of stuff, discovered what the rest of the country is also doing. And then flash forward a few years, I found my way into production and eventually into product management. Over the next decade or so, I took my life took me in different directions. I explored media streaming, SaaS, ad tech, and even insurance tech. My last two gigs were basically all about scaling up established products, highlighting short and long term engagement and monetization opportunities, and so on. I worked as a senior PM in Aqua, where I was leading app engagement for their health insurance platform. And right after that, I spent some time working as a director of product for JioCinema's AdTech business. It was at Viacom 18 back in the day. And for those who do watch live sports, I apologize for the abrupt ad breaks. I know all of you hate them. But yeah, I mean, a lot of time spent in product was spent interacting with users, what they feel about it, how can we get their feedback and improve our products and so on. And then after that, it's all about my second quest. And you'll be hearing a lot of those puns, eventually as the chat goes on. And a little bit about me and Kinshuk and Yadu and everyone else. I've known these guys for more than a decade now. We met back at Indian Game Developers Conference, like I think 2013 or 2012 or something like that. Yadu and Kinshuk at that time were running a game jam called BYOG. They still do it. It's I think one of the biggest ones in the country right now. Over the next few years, we spent so much time talking about our favorite games, uh, play testing each other's games. I saw the community that they have built, participated in that, and it's become like really big right now. I've seen all of us sort of evolve from game developers to mentors. And I think some of you old timers who still remember the old Indian Game Developers Conference days, you'll remember our antics from the NGDC forums on Facebook. I think around a year and a half ago, I met Chagufta and Kincho back in Delhi. I was traveling there for some work. They dropped the idea of Second Quest. We had an interesting chat. I was pretty excited about it and talk about it even more at that time. I was also getting into simulation games and spent a lot of time playing City Skyline, Prison Architect, and a bunch of other stuff. Was really excited about the modding scene which was happening, how they elevate the game to some completely different level, the impact of lively communities, and so on and so forth. A few months later, we had, I think we incidentally sort of met at Global Game Jam in 2024. And all of us were present at the same time. So, like all game jams go, we had so many discussions around our life, our values, our ethos, what our vision is, and so on and so forth. Over the next few weeks, we had so many ideas, so many intense conversations. And yeah, I mean, here we are over a year later and trying to do what we always wanted to do. I think some of you are already aware of what we are building, but I'm really pumped to finally share the news with the rest of the world. We have so much to show and reveal in the stream, so please stay tuned. And I promise there'll be no ad breaks in this one. So yeah, over to you, Vivek.
Thank you, Shubham. It was a nice story. Hi, everyone. I'm Vivek, CTO of Second Quest. I've been in the gaming industry for 10 years now, and it's been a really great time for me. I have worked with Kinshuk for many, many years at Hashdash, and I see a lot of Hashdash folks in the chat voting for us. Thanks to all of you. Guys, at Hashdash, for me, it was more like a choose your own quest kind of an adventure where I got to work on multiple genre of games, multiple game engines, different tech, and it was crazy. And yeah, I mean, I still managed to survive. Uh, and also at Hashtash, I wore multiple hats. My primary role was to work with the technical team, shaping the technical talents, hiring the right time, and like we created a good tech team over there as well. And but apart from that, I was also involved with the client relations, and it was very incredibly rewarding for me to see those ideas that I used to discuss with the clients and turning them into real playable successful games. So it was a really great time there. And also, it was at Hashtash where I also learned the power of community and basically started doing community work very early on. And I'm very passionate about the whole game dev community. They are very supportive. I started doing global game jam for Delhi, and now I am regional organizer for India. And I'm also involved with the Game Dev India, running a couple of initiatives like Campfire and BYOG, which is where also I met Yadu, and they're all super helpful folks, and the entire community that we have is very helpful and supportive. And I think that's really important when you are making a game. And yeah, coming back to Second Quest, when Ken Shagufta came to me with the idea of Second Quest, I was very happy with our first conversation because from so many years, I also had an itch of working on my own vision and shaping my own studio. And yeah, and like simulation game is like one of the genre that I really enjoy playing. And I really tried not to play them because they are so addictive and yeah, so much fun into it. And yeah, after having the conversation with them, like I was instantly on board. It was everything aligned with what I wanted to do. And yeah, it's and all the team that we made, it was very all of them. I have worked with almost all of them at certain point of time, and they're all amazing folks. I'm very excited to be here, and today we are going to announce a debut title, which is really excites me.
Yeah, round of applause for the lovely team. I mean, this is one heavyweight team, seriously. And we are very lucky to have this level of depth and experience on board. And more importantly, so proud of the passion that everybody has for video games at Second Quest. And I hope all of you out there who have tuned in, thank you so much that you're excited to sort of learn more about the game. We are very excited. And we have community members joining us through YouTube and LinkedIn. So please leave your questions in comments and we'll respond to them uh, during this conversation. And so now, without much further ado, here's a quick glimpse of our debut game. Yay! So that's model trains for everyone out
Yeah,
there. That's what we've been working on.
that's what the game looks like. Yeah. So people out there on YouTube and LinkedIn who are watching this, please let us know what did you think of the first look of our game. It's still a very early version, and uh, we call it an early stage prototype. And there's a long roadmap for getting where we want to get. And in fact, at this point, I'll probably ask the rest of the team here because it was their idea to start showing this early stage game. And guys, why are we doing that? Why are we showing this early stage version here?
I don't know why.
So we've been actually working on the game for I think 5 years now, which is way shorter than what we have planned in the roadmap for the entire thing. But so far it's been all around laying the foundation of the game, putting the scaffolding on, and there wasn't much to talk about it until today. And we sort of right from the start we wanted to get user feedback while we build the game. So trying to build it together, get feedback, iterate over it, and so on. We have so far shown it to our advisors, some really close friends, and we've received excellent feedback from them, which has also made the game from a very sort of a technical sort of a project more into something which actually has gameplay right now. So yeah, I mean this is one of the reasons. And Yadu, you want to add on top of that?
Yeah. So I mean, at this point, the game is essentially like a vehicle for us to build the foundations of our platform. The platform is what will empower our players to like build really cool stuff, which is interesting, and then they would want to share it with the world as well. So, and when we are basically saying we want to build with the community, we really mean it. And we really want the feedback and we want to build things for our players. So, yes, this is very early stage and it is one of those early step towards that direction of building the platform that really empowers people. So, again, the game is just a vehicle.
Yeah, I
So,
mean,
yeah.
another thing is that I think traditionally we've sort of all of us have built games in isolation. I wouldn't say silos, but they are more of isolation than there have been like so many examples like Tiny Glades and Tiny Glade and even Banner Lords actually, which are the more recent ones of how game communities have actually helped build, discover, grow these games to an extent of the massive successes that they are right now. And one more reason is that at Second Quest, we want to share the love for building games. We all uh, drive hard by this desire of developing engaging games and we also want to set an example for some of the immensely talented younger studios with some initiatives. Maybe something like this, which is showcasing a game on an announcement stream and doing early play tests, building together, and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's also one of the hopes that we have.
Yeah. So,
Also, sorry
yeah.
to cut you.
No, no, go for
Yeah.
it.
I think yeah, Shubham said 5 years, but it's 5 months only. I just
Oh
heard
wow,
yes, and
yeah.
I was like, no, this is just 5 months. And being a technical guy, I was very scared that what people will think because we have a lot of things to build, lot of stuff to put in, and in 5 months you
Yeah, I
can
wouldn't
only
be a
build.
good scrum master if I can't, make that mistake of us.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I mean, like I agree with Yadu and Shubhank. It's a power of community. It's like when you build with community, the game really shapes the way the user want to play it.
Guys,
So, yeah,
I'll
I
share
mean,
an interesting. Just 1 second, yeah. Do just want to share an interesting piece of info. I think the community really likes the video that we showed because 6 people have already applied for a job at Second Quest. My DM is just getting filled with messages.
I
I
think
just
that's
wanted
a
to share
good
it with you,
sign.
all of you. Yeah,
Oh,
hopefully they're not saying that, hey, this part of the game looks bad, you need me to fix it.
I hope that's not the case. I'm hoping that they would be interested in the things that we want to build more and not just the things that we're saying. Speaking of things that you just seen in the trailer, so if that was a bit janky, like let me just share my Unity editor and, and see where that goes. Does that sound like a good idea? Maybe.
Not at
Yes,
all,
yeah, to
but yeah,
take,
of
take,
course.
take early stage to the next level.
Yes, that's our motto. We take early stage to the next level. So
is it a
yeah,
Okay,
good
we have a
idea?
so
question.
No. Will we
We
do
have a
it?
question
Yes.
from, sorry, Shamita, go on.
No, I was just saying, is it a good idea? No. Will we do it? Yes.
yeah,
So there's a
too late
question
now.
from the community, with like the question is this train's only sim game?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Ah,
you've been
Yes,
talking
yes.
about content platform.
Yeah. So we can answer that right now, or we can answer it along the way. But to kind of reiterate the point that we spoke about earlier, it is starting as a vehicle. Okay, I'm not gonna use that pun anymore. I think we have ridden that train. Anyway, so
Yeah,
those are points.
really.
But the point I'm trying to make is that so this is essentially a way of building the platform that will hopefully give us enough of a foundation and enough of the tool sets so that it kind of empowers people to build more things on top of it. I will. So this is what we have so far. It's an early build. We are currently building this base platform. It is so early that I put in this menu yesterday, and so this is our debut game towards building that platform, and this is Model Trains. Which is a moddable sandbox train simulator where you design, build, and control your model train sets, and essentially eventually get to share your creations with the world, like in the showcase here. So I hope that kind of gives you that answer that it is essentially like helping us build the tools that will eventually help build more things to this and on top of this, and like the scaffolding to build more interesting things, and not just trains is again just I think a shared interest at this point. I guess, and it's also, I don't think anybody, I mean, of course, there are people who probably don't like trains, but I'm sure there are people who like trains more than they dislike trains, probably. Yeah.
Yeah,
Enough
just
of
to
me.
add to that, Yadu, just jumping in very quickly, trains is just a starting point, right? And
Yeah, it is.
in fact, if you look at it, a lot of systems that you need to make for trains are systems that you need to make for other things like factories, assembly lines, or other modes of transportation, or city building and things like that. So not trains only, but starts with trains.
Yeah, essentially that. So you do see a bunch of the things which might give you an idea about what things eventually will end up being. Like you have like mod support. We're thinking of doing slightly extensive campaigns. We have shareable ways of sharing content in some sense, and you'll also have some sort of challenge systems and all that. But at the same time, for the time being, what we started with is the sandbox. Uh, and like a bunch of these things are planned, but the idea of we started with the sandbox as it was going to be like a test bed for all our features and systems, and we were sure that it would give us that strong foundation of how we wanted to build this platform like for the future. So even though you don't see mods in the game right now, we have like been building the game in a way that it lays down the foundation for our mod systems and our content pipelines. So in the next few months, you'll see like a lot of mod tools come out as we build them to build the game itself. So every aspect of the game will be sort of extensible. Our modders will be able to not just create content, but also like extend the game's features by like plugging into an SDK, or adding like extending it via scripting and plugins or mods. So we're still working on those things. For the time being, our focus has been on content and the sandbox and a lot of base systems. So yeah, so this is going to be like a huge scalable content platform in a way, and we're very kind of excited to sort of start seeing what other people will be able to do with what we are building and the tools that we build. This is our sort of sandbox at the time being. The videos that you saw earlier were like sort of captured from this space. Slightly similar space. The when at the get-go, what you would end up will be what you will be able to do is to essentially sort of generate a world. You're working on tools that will help you build a starting world to work with, and essentially how you see in other games as well. So how pick how much land you want, or pick how much water should there be, or what kind of land type there is, and how much vegetation and all that. So kind of generate like a space. And once the generation is done, you would see something like this, which is like slightly pre-populated with content and all. Once you're here, you get to sort of use some of the tools that we have planned. Some of them are locked, but
Before you move on, do you want to tweak the audio settings?
is it too loud?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
music.
yeah.
Okay, so is it? So I've actually
While
registered
you do
for.
that,
Yeah.
I'll very quickly pick up two questions from the community.
Okay.
First, is this a mobile game or a PC game? Shivang,
Ooh.
you can talk about that while you does the settings.
So this is a PC first game. We are definitely building for the PC, as you can see it. We also have something interesting which will be revealed later for all the PC fans. Uh, it's also we are also planning for the consoles at this point of time. We will figure out at the course of time as to what are the consoles we want to target for it, and so on and so forth. For mobile, yeah, you guys will have to watch the space. But the idea is to cover as many platforms as possible. There might be some functionality missing because we'll have to play with constraints regarding controllers and other stuff. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, to answer the question, simple and short, it's a PC first game.
Yeah, in fact, the whole community aspect plays an important role there as well because we want this game to be available on the preferred platforms of our players, and the community is what will tell us what those devices are. But Vivek, you have been having a lot of trouble ensuring that this game will work on all the platforms. You want to add something about that?
Yeah, I mean, usually making things cross-platform is a bit difficult, but I mean, the one thing that I think we all are aligned with was from the beginning was that we want to make it cross-platform. So from the very beginning, like we are trying to make sure that everything that we are building is supported on as many platforms as possible. If it is not supported, we have the discussion right there to how we'll tackle that. So I mean, yeah, it's a bit difficult, but yeah, I mean, we are building for it. So.
Okay, the next
Yeah,
question.
there's
Yeah,
sorry,
Shubham, go
sorry,
on.
go on. So I was just saying somebody asked my favorite question about the art style.
Yeah, I actually
No,
saw
What's
that.
what's the question?
Yeah.
but before we get to art style, there's one more question there. Let's quickly address that. Is this a games as a service?
Kinshuk, would you like to answer that question?
Answer in his head.
So,
Game as a service.
well, yes and no, but more yes. The idea is that we're looking at this approaching it from a content platform perspective. So we feel this game has a very long shelf life. There's a plethora of content that will keep coming to the game, and the whole modding approach that we're taking, making every aspect of this game very extensible to the extent where we hope to see a lot of total conversions of this game as well. So from that perspective, we think this game will be serviced for a long, long time. Will we be doing a lot of live events and things like that? Well, we have some game modes like that, but it's too early to commit to anything. But yes, we are looking at that long shelf life right while building the
Yeah.
foundations of this game.
In fact, we've already
Just
started
to
getting some great ideas for DLCs in the comments.
Yeah, so just to add to what Kinchuk said, yes, this will be partly games as a service, partly a single player, casual slash wholesome experience for you guys to have fun with, build your own diorama, share it with the world, and so on and so forth. We do promise you that there will be no predatory transactional things that will be a part of this. We plan to release the game and support it with additional content as and when we go, and we will obviously take everyone's consideration when we are in that process of releasing the content itself.
Yeah. So as an extension to this question, there was another question that Sam Creed asked. Um their question was, so MMO sandbox
Yeah,
like PAX Day, where the community will continuously build the world. So I think that's what we're trying to say. That while we will continue supporting the platform and adding content and adding different behaviors and functionalities, we're also building it in a manner where the community can take this game forward. It would be great to see the Elder Scrolls treatment coming to any game. So I think that's what we're talking about.
yep, exactly. Uh, Vivek, I have a question for you.
Yes.
So while Yadu is enjoying playing the game,
I was
Can you
also
sort of
actually busy looking at what Yadu is trying to do.
I was like, hey, I was going to walk people through what we've built and stuff. So since you're talking, I thought might as well just continue doing
yeah?
what I was doing.
So essentially, what Yadu is doing is we have some of the core mechanics in place, which is track building, prop playing, and so on and so on and so forth. As you guys can also see, this biome that we have right now is the one that we're working on. The one where the trailer was based was a completely different map, and everything which is laid out in front of you so far has been laid using in-game tools that we ourselves worked on. So
So in
yeah,
fact,
so
this bit you see, this kinship wait, this ruins. No, just an anecdote. Please continue.
Yeah.
so yeah, Vivek,
You
I
were,
had a
yeah,
question
you
for
were
you.
asking a question, yeah.
So I was asking you, we're talking so much about modding. So can you please tell us why is modding so important to us?
Yeah, I mean, see, like we have all seen the power of modding. I mean, I have played Counter Strike a lot. You guys have also must have played Counter Strike a lot, and Counter Strike in itself was a mod, and uh, the hacker culture where like people want to break games and do their own stuff. I think it's inbuilt in gamers, and earlier it was difficult to mod games. Like we have seen a lot of games which has content mod, but the functionality mod, which is where you want to extend the feature, it was basically difficult, and you have to do reverse engineering. But nowadays, like we see a lot of games openly coming out with their modding system and letting people change the functionality the way whatever the way they want. And so we are also focusing on that. Like the way we are building stuff is like we're trying to keep everything as modular and as open possible. So as Kinshuk said, like we are just starting with the train, but people can make it into any game that they want to make.
Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons is also having a longer shelf life. We want the platform to grow and evolve. We want you to be limited only by your imagination and nothing else. The systems in place will help you whatever you want to create, however you want to do it, and so on. We will have our content pipelines for different DLCs, the other things, DLCs that we ship. You can have different biomes and other things, other content packs that we will eventually release and so on. And we want the players who are actually creating content for this game also to have the same sort of flexibility that we have. In fact, many of the tools in the game are something that will be mods for us to use. So essentially, we will be playing with these mods ourselves. So you, at the end of the day, will get the exact same experience as what we are in terms of designing these small little dioramas and working through them. Vivek, anything else that you want to add?
Yeah.
And I'll quickly plug in here, Shubhang, because this
Sure.
also addresses a question one of the committee members has asked whether they will be able to make Hot Wheel tracks in the
Oh, yeah.
sandbox. So I think we've already spoken about that. Pretty much yes, but it's also involves bringing together a lot of different IPs, uh, and we see this game as a great platform for multiple such IP times, and that's also an opportunity that we'll explore in future. But right now the focus is getting the foundations right.
Kinshuk, there's one more question about the gameplay. That is this game more like, playing with model trains in, real life, or is it more about simulated train driving? Which one is it?
Vijay, you want to take a stab at that?
I think it's
Basically,
both.
it's both, right?
Yeah, it's both. It's basically whatever
It's
you want to
actually
do.
both. So one of the next things that we are actually working on is implementing physics in the like some rudimentary physics so that you can have like a little more fun. So some of the turns that you see the train move taking right now might not be as easy when that is in place. So you'll get to some spectacular crashes and things like that. And yeah, if you can mod the hell out of that, it'll be awesome.
Yeah, so I think just to add to that, essentially, there are two ways. Like, there is an idea that we have about what this game is to an extent, and I know that I want So it kind of goes back to those ideas about what we had about train games that we wanted to build. Like I wanted something, Kinshuk wanted something, and there were a lot of ideas. I wanted like a very like a diorama kind of a situation, which is like very small and cute and stuff. And Kinshuk being like an introversion fan and a City Skylines fan, and and a Foundation fan, and I don't know what else. Like so many fans of so many things. He wanted like more. And I think so. Like there is an idea for what this particular game is at the moment, and the way we're building it is that we want people to be able to change that also. So we want to expose like the core of the game in like a very fundamental way, so that you should be able to extend it into whatever. I mean, I think it's like a very big dream, but like
Yeah.
to like as much as possible. I don't like
Yeah.
from the background. Vivek is like
Yes.
raising hands.
I was
So
just
like,
going to say, I mean,
yeah,
the amount
as
of time
designers,
we,
we dream a lot. But the point is that I was trying to get at is that it will be extensible. There is an idea of where we want to go with the game, but we will build with the community and we'll help try to build those tools. And we're hopeful that we would kind of uh, the kind of same love and the same kind of support that we are trying to foster within the community will get that back as well, in form of helping us build those other bits as well in some ways. Like so it's a I don't know what it is. It's a friendship.
yeah, and from the tech perspective, I'll say, trust me, guys, it's very open, the systems. Like every time I build a system and we play test and discuss, like all the constraints that I put in a system are lifted. Like, can we also do this? Can we also remove this constraint? And I'm like, yeah, sure, we can.
So from a designer point of view, I am with the players and with like, can we do one more thing every day? Like I do that with Vivek almost all the time.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
I, I write a spec. Vivek would work on something, and then we would sit and review. And I was like, there are like four more things that would be great with this. Is usually what our conversations are like every day. Oh,
and then I go and refactor.
Yeah, then you
but
know
yeah,
that
Uh,
it's a meme coming, right?
one more thing.
So, Yadav, you want to tell like what more can we do with this? Like, what are the we see people are also watching you play and they are also enjoying you build stuff. But
Yeah, so this is what I'm doing right now. Essentially, is mostly the content side of things. I know I was just trying to build something out here, which is like a windmill, and like a church-like situation happening with some you know and some paths and things. I was just like had this idea about what to kind of build. So we have a bunch of tools which is fundamentally associated with props. Props is basically a library. So this comes with a bunch of things, and it will also be like extensible using like content packs. But at the same time, there are like foundational tools that you have, which is essentially just kind of stuff, move things around, or if you wanna just like rotate. Oh, that doesn't want to get rotated. But if you want to, you could like rotate stuff around. Maybe I show something else like a stone or something. Yeah, there you go. So you can move things around, rotate things around, like general translation, transformation tools and stuff like that. Duplicate, and a bunch of essential tools to kind of detail out your work. So right now, what we're doing is we're building out a bunch of systems which is focused on the content side of things, as well as the train side of things. So we're working hard on the track system, which is essentially what the trains are essentially like running on. So this is our current track, which has a single train on it. Um, I don't know if you can hear it.
Mm. Very
So
lightly.
very likely because I think I've reduced
Yeah.
the
Yeah, yeah.
volume down
No,
so
I think the
much.
yeah, sound effects.
uh,
Sound effects will need to increase the volume
uh,
of sound.
uh.
Yeah. So
So
that's
yeah,
that's
very very quickly, I'll pick up a question from the chat.
yeah.
Uh, the question about art style.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Do we have any plans to explore art style?
So the art style right now is it's not essentially set in stone. Uh, our we are like ourselves sort of trying to find out where that is going to be. Our aspirations for the game um, is very like a toy like kind of an experience um, where if we were to think of model trains and small miniature train sets, that's where we would want to be. At the time being, we have basically put together a set of assets which are cohesive, a bunch of work that has been done towards the content. But essentially, we would most likely have a space where you are also able to add more different kinds of content as well. So if this is a specific kind of like if I think like we were talking about this how this looks like in the game right now, if this looks like a western for instance, if you want to kind of make it change it into something like a certain different world, like let's say a Hogwarts or a Snowpiercer or something, so we can easily plug that kind of stuff in as well. So I don't know if that clearly answers the art style question. It's like we're not necessarily super tied down to an art style. Uh, so it really depends on the content that you bring to the world that sort of defines it. We will have sort of pipelines and guidelines for getting things into the game, but you've seen games where things are mashed together as well. So that is also very well possible if you really wanted to do it.
So basically, you're
Yeah.
saying
I
that as
mean,
content creators, players can control the kind of experience, vibe, and look that they want to go for.
Yeah, pretty much. Right. So, is there any other questions? I was basically talking about our prop system, and I've just basically deleted our track. So we can what we can do is I'm just going to lay down a track real quickly. We've also we spoke about the terrain generation tools as well. So you can see some of those things in action here. Uh, it's not necessarily entirely there, but we are basically working on creating a slightly realistic and usable tracks using like shaping the terrain as well in some form and shape as well. Yeah. So so once you
Just
get to
straightly
the
cut the terrain. No
yeah.
I
smoothness
mean,
there.
it is
Uh,
realistic in some sense, I suppose. So
yeah.
what is so eventually once you lay down your tracks, also you'll still be able to sculpt your terrain as you see fit using our terrain tools as well, and shape the terrain accordingly, and resize and things. So that is a thing that you'll be able to plan what you want to do with the world in terms of like divvying up the land and essentially making sure like kind of creating regions that you want to work with, and doing terrain generation there as well, laying down layouts, and then doing automation using switches and junctions and things like that. And then you essentially everything in the game is like a prop. So you would be able to combine them. You would be able to set up animations. You'd be set up audio cues and things like that, and things which are like reactive to other elements and other systems also. So it's not just one system works in a particular way. It's usually a combination of things. So uh, if there's a physics system of a specific kind, and if there is something that activates as like you know a sort of pressure like an explosive, maybe those systems can interact and it can eventually have the explosion Shubhank has been wanting for a long time. So we are working towards those kind of things as well. So yeah, so and eventually once you're done crafting your world and detailing it out, you will then eventually be able to send it out into the world in multiple ways. One is an internal showcase within the game that you're able to I'm not going to give a lot of this away, but I think this can all be in a
Yes.
different
Soon,
catalog at some
soon,
other
Yadu.
point. Yes.
Soon,
So
Yadu.
Yeah,
We
Soon.
yeah.
should do.
I think the menu was sufficient to talk about these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
Very
sorry.
quickly,
Yes.
very
I don't.
quickly, let's pick up a few more questions. There's a lot of
Yeah.
questions coming on the chat. Shubhang was
Wow.
saying something.
No. I was just saying that I don't want to get into the process of signing NDAs with all these lovely people right now. So yeah.
So yeah, so I'll very quickly pick up some questions. So art style is done. Yeah. So somebody asked, Ronak asked, would logistics management be vanilla mechanic or supported through mods?
Sorry, can you
Mm,
repeat that?
Would logistics management be a
Logistic.
vanilla mechanic or supported through mods?
I
I
think
think it's
Shubham
I can very
should.
quickly
Oh,
address this. Um, the core game is going to be the framework through which all functionalities can be built. So clear, like definitely logistics management is something that would be add-on content. Does it come with the game or as a separate mod or DLC? That we don't know today.
Yeah.
Any potential collabs with I? That's a joke. No collabs with IRCTC so far, Mr. Malik. Uh, I'm assuming real physics will be a huge challenge.
Please start a
Not
petition
particularly.
and we'll go to the government with it.
yeah.
There's a question about train customization here. Will there be train customization as well?
Sure. I just closed that minute. So we will have logos will most likely be customizable. Is something we may be able to promise. Maybe. I don't know if that helps, but we will definitely have a train editor of some sort. We have a lot of ideas, and like I think a lot of things you'll see us building into the future, and when we put things out, is probably when we get a lot more feedback as to how people want to see like, what people want to see and where people want to kind of see the game go as well. So it's going to be a symbiotic kind of a relationship. So to answer that, at the moment, again, a lot of things are in the works. We have even put on a train editor. If you can see a train editor on the screen right now, which is disabled, but it is an idea. It is something that we are working towards. Routes and trains and automations and switches and all those things are there. So a level of stuff that you do with trains is something to be expected, including logo customization and things. So I think I've answered this in the long, windiest way possible.
I
yes,
think
the answer is yes.
Subhang needs to have another conversation with the community about the roadmap. I think that's where all of these things get addressed.
Yeah.
Very quickly,
Uh,
Hi Myra. Myra wants to know if multicolor water will be an option to drive through.
Sure.
Multicolor?
Mul- if
sure.
multicolor water will be an option.
Multicolored water. We can have unicorn coming out instead of the smoke. Rainbow stuff
Yeah,
from
yeah.
the
Create a
train,
complete fantasy
DLC,
alternative
DLC.
planet.
and so on. So never say no to any of these things.
Yeah. What kind of economy design will the game have? Uh, again, yeah, to the shortest answer, please.
The shortest answer is that I am working on it. Uh, so since we started with the sandbox, so the easiest answer is that we are kind of like aware of like a lot of games being very industry focused and economy focused, and we know that a lot of players want those things. So it will be there in what form, whether it is going to be like very similar to what systems that exist in other places, or will it be something different or something new, is something that we are sort of still considering. So yeah, so there is most likely some kind of an economy. Um, uh, yeah, and the way we are building the game right now, it just points to sort of how flexible that will also be, is something that you can kind of be, you know, that's how it's going to be. So it could be a system that can be turned on and off. It could be a game mode. It could be many other things. So again, that's my short answer. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that was pretty short, Yadu. Thank you so much. Yadu, Shubhang, sorry, Vivek, Shubhang,
Yeah.
there's a feature request from you guys. Dev Jyoti wants to see PvE train action gameplay,
Huh,
please.
huh, huh.
Of course.
Uh,
Yeah, Shubham, you were saying.
I mean,
But
yeah,
uh,
we have been talking about some crazy things, and I mean, it's all there up there in our minds and notes and somewhere on Confluence and Jira and things like that. But yeah, it's
I'll
too
say, I'll
soon to
say,
say
yeah, drop onto
more
our Discord
information
and
about
drop
this.
this idea.
Yes,
Yeah. Yes, please drop by
I
our
will think
Discord
about
and
it.
Drop these
yeah.
Yes,
ideas.
please drop by our Discord, give all your comments, all your suggestions, all your lovely DLC ideas there, please.
Yeah.
Yes. I think,
I'll very quickly run through a few more questions.
yeah.
What does the spider on the right top corner do? It's the report a bug feature thread. Then are the roads and fences procedural? Right now they are prop driven. They would still be prop driven for the majority of gameplay, but there will be certain aspects that where the world will respond to the way you're building things. Um, then there's a question about destructive worlds when the train decides to go off-roading for no good
Yeah.
reason. Shubham, I think this is your
Shubhang's favorite
favorite
question.
feature.
So essentially, like I mentioned, there will be train physics. We'll try to
So, Yadu,
replicate
pause it.
it as per realism as possible, and so essentially, you will have a lot to worry about when you're designing tracks. What kind of a height they have, what mass does the train have, at what curves are they actually making a turn, and so on and so forth. Some of them will lead to crashes. Some of them you can do on purpose, have fun, add things to it, run over animals, and so on and so forth. Some of it you can
We don't endorse it, but you can do what you want.
do what you want with that. Yeah. So the physics will actually add a lot to it, and yeah, I mean, if you want to make a diorama which is like something like out of an Evil Knievel sort of a book, train going up, getting blasted to hell, and then just coming down and landing it. You can do that as well. If you want to have like a nice time with, I don't know, some cherry blossoms and things and the train driving through it, you can do that as
Cherry blossom.
So there's a very interesting question here, Yadu. Again, the shortest version, please. Sam Creed wants to know that, after some development, he's assuming that it will cost him in-game money to remove trees, terrain, and stuff like that.
well. Oh, wow. That's a good idea.
Th-
We
Thanks
should,
for the idea, but I think, yeah, I don't think we are going that way.
yep, we are not going that way, for sure.
Okay, there's a question from Shine Pal. Can modders build actual trains from history with their actual mechanics? Will this be Sheldon Cooper's wet dream?
We'll try our
I
best.
I
mean,
think we're not qualified to answer the third, but yeah.
yeah, I think we'll probably ask Sheldon Cooper.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you will be able to. So I think Edu already mentioned that we have plans to add train a system where people can design their own trains and so on. It's still very early in terms of the kind of discussions we're having. We're planning liveries and things like that around these things, custom skins and so on. So the short answer is yes, and to what extent we'll figure out as the time goes on.
Yeah, I think it's a fair thing to share that right now focus is on translating the whole experience of building real sets with real kits in the physical world into
Yeah.
a very uh, faithful digital experience, which follows the spirit of the activity more than the mechanics of the activity. I think that's the foundation that we're building. And we're building that in a manner which is super extensible so that more content, more functionality, more aspects can then be added to the game.
Yeah, I mean, this is one more small thing to add to that. So when we were actually researching on the model train sets which are actually available out there in the market, and one more thing we found out was that it doesn't have a low cost entry barrier. The whole hobby thing and the train. Some of these sets actually cost an enormous amount. So we wanted to sort of bridge that gap as well by bringing this experience in some kind of a digital sort of a world where you can experience similar thing, but in a much more accessible and slightly less pricey sort of a way. So we wanted to address that gap as well.
Yeah. In fact, I think we are done with all the questions.
Yeah.
One last question is which platform are you guys targeting by Breaking Code Games? We already spoke about this a little while ago that we're PC first, but we're writing the game in a very platform agnostic fashion because we want to be on the preferred platforms of our players. Mr. Malik is asking Yadu to add a rock on the track and let's see what happens. Mr. Malik, unfortunately, nothing will happen right now.
Nothing.
The train will
Yeah,
just pass through the rock.
Yep.
yeah. But soon a lot of things can.
So, Shubhang, how can
Yeah.
Mr. Malik find out what will happen when that rock is placed? Do you want to tell everybody?
So right now nothing will happen. The train will most likely pass through it, or Yadu is right now just teasing Mr.
I
Malik
think
on what
I
will
think
happen.
Yadu is
But
having a lot of fun building. I think Shubhang is.
yeah, I know. I mean,
And
so
when
I think we've had like a lot of interesting questions, and Yadu is having a lot of fun building the game. You guys can see it. We'll have the video available on YouTube later for you to see it again and again. But there's one more thing that we wanted to announce on this stream. And I know we've been talking a lot about building the game together with the community and how important it is at us at Second Quest, and how we want to use that experience, use your feedback to make our games really awesome. And we want to essentially want to check in with players at every major stage or every milestone that we hit, and get their feedback and so on and so forth. Uh, the idea is that this feedback also does not sort of have to be just bug reports, but we want to understand how you are interacting with the game, whether you want a lot more accessibility or whether you want things to be a lot more sort of diverse and granular control or modular and so on and so forth. So we're listening to you in every step of the way. We want to do that. And eventually, our product roadmap will also be made public. You will know when exactly what is expected, and so on and so forth. Uh, so I mean, I'm sort of we take great pleasure in announcing that we have a playtest program, which is just started. You can log on to beta.secondquest.games and register for that. If you're a seasoned simulation games player, we'd love for you to be a part of our playtest program. We're aiming to kick off sometime in May, the first playtest, which will have maybe a few more features on top of what you're already seeing. And as and when we go on, we will be handing out Steam keys to whoever has been selected as a part of that program and so on. Another thing is that this is not just specific to Model Train, but any other game that we build in the future will also be a part of that. So even if you sign up and you may not get selected at first, but you are there in our consideration. So we will definitely reach out to you at some time or the other. In the meantime, guys, please join our Discord as we've been saying. We'll be posting devlogs, we'll be posting a lot of videos and GIFs. Some of us want to hang out in channel and play the game along as we are playtesting things ourselves. A lot of stuff, studio updates and so on. And yeah, feel free to interact with us to each other, ask as many questions as possible. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, in fact, if I've missed any questions from the community chat, you're welcome to ask those questions on Discord. We'll be there like all the time, and happy to take all the questions, share as much as we can about the game. Going forward, we'll have more content from the game coming out on our Discord as well. So that way, a lot more can be learned about what we're building and how we're building it.
And to add to that, we'll also be doing monthly hangouts where we'll be sort of talking you through what we've been up to. And, so we'd love if you could, show up for that, tell us in real time, what you think, about our roadmap, our development. So please join our Discord, join our monthly hangouts, follow us on all social media platforms. We'll be putting content across, whichever one you prefer. We're, pretty much on all of them. We're also going to GDC. So we'll be showing the Winter Pavilion. We were one of the Bharat Tech Triumph winners. So for anybody who's at GDC, feel free to come to us. We'll be very happy to show you the game and hear what you have to say. Kilshuk, back from there.
Yeah, and in fact, some of the folks on the community chat, I was just looking at it, beat us to our announcement for the playtest program. A couple of them have complained about how big the form is. Uh, Folks, please bear with us, fill that form because we need to understand more about how you approach simulation games, how are you playing them, and that will be an important factor in what priority we are picking up players to give early builds of the game to. So please bear with us and please fill in that long form. And we are super excited about our participation at GDC and London Games Festival. Uh, and like Sharufta mentioned, every month we are now going to like at the end of the month, we're going to do a live stream again, uh, going on every month, where we talk about what's been added to the game, what's the updates, how the roadmap looks like, and we'll be taking a lot more questions there and sharing a lot more about the game.
Yeah. So that's it from us. Thank you everyone for tuning in on LinkedIn, on YouTube, for all your questions, all your comments. And we hope to see you on all our social media platforms and Discord. Please come to Discord. We want you in Discord.
Bye,
Yes,
guys.
enjoy that latest.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank
That's
you.
bye
Bye
from all
bye.
of us at Second Class.